Like my bend over noise. My pants are tighter than usual today. Definitely a new favorite. I feel like I always say that. I'm like, at first I hate it, and then I love it. Like a backwards Sour Patch Kid. First they're sour, and then they're sweet. Hi everybody, Llewellyn here with Worn to Whimsy. I am still working on this thing. I have slowly been doing the top of it over here, so I'll show you guys that, and I'll show you what I usually do to the tops of my pieces, because I know I do like these crazy paintings on the fronts and on the sides, but I don't always show a really decent picture of the top. I do like to paint my drawers to match, so sometimes I'll do it as I'm going along. You can see this one's like the same color as what I was using. And then other times I will go back later and do it afterward. You guys, this dresser, I am like, I love it. I'm so excited to just post the final. Like, it's so close, it's so close. I still have to do some of the details on the water. And I kind of did the other side, most of the details, so I already have a live on that. But I wanted you guys to come maybe around the edge a little bit and most definitely do some of these little finishing things. For this piece so far, you can see, I have to take off the little child things, but you can see I've done all around the edges of these drawers. Another thing that I do like to do is I like to take my drawers out and any part of it that would be showing, so like these little like edges right here, you can just barely see some of the paint that I didn't quite get. So we'll be taking the drawer out and I'll do some of those edges. And another part of it that I decided to keep on while I painted, just to get the colors on there, is the knobs. And when I do paint knobs, which isn't very often, I really do like to use like older knobs, and I usually like them to stand out. But for this piece, it had these cute little knobs on it and they were already painted. And they already match the piece and they just look so good. So I've decided to paint the knobs to match. So then I painted the front of them, but you can see they're a little bit messier on the edges because you can't really get in there with a brush easily. So I was just gonna show you guys. I've got some of my paint colors already open that I'll need. So I will be going around the edges, and just really quick, I'm going to paint those as well. So I'll just take my brush and I'll do the little posts on these, and then I'll touch up any little parts that might be left. I'm just gonna make this little like purpley blue gray, like what's on the front. Try and remix that. And that's kind of what I do, the same thing for my drawer edges. A little bit like OCD about this stuff, but I like all my edges to be perfect. So, and I'm just going around the knob like that. I probably won't do the inside of the knob because it's this pretty white color already. It doesn't really need to be fixed. And then for the top coat on the knobs, I don't like to do them with a regular top coat. I'll usually use like a spray, like a clear matte, or I don't know, I guess you could use a semi-gloss or maybe a satin or something, because that gives it more scrubability and durability. You don't have to, but that's one thing I like to do, just to make sure that they last, you know, because your knobs, that's where you get all of the, everybody touches those. And then I'm just setting it like this. If you guys can see that, I'm just setting it on the floor down here. And I'll remember because it's already the colors. And then you come back in here, and I've mixed that purpley color, you see, and I just blend it right into where it was gonna be anyway, where my knob kind of covered it. But yeah, I do like to pay attention to all of those details. And I've done it once or twice where they drill the holes in a little board and then they attach them to the board and spray paint them that way, like using the screw. So I've seen people do that. That's a great way to do it too. All right, let me get this second knob off of here. But I'm sure a lot of you do all those little details too. It just comes from like doing it for 6 years. And then just wanting to get everything, especially, you know, because I put so much time and energy, so when I don't like finish up the little things, it almost feels like you're stopping before you've hit the finish line, you know? Like, so close, and then you notice all of these things. So I just do them. I'm gonna go in here with, this is just flamingo, and it might be a little bright. Nope, looks good. And we're gonna do under where that knob was as well. And kind of add this cloud sort of tapered off over here. So I'm gonna add that back in and bring it over. But yeah, I feel like half the battle is just getting all of these little tiny extra details that come with painting furniture that you don't have, say, on a canvas. Canvas is so simple. Canvas is so straightforward. Whereas furniture, I'm like trying to paint around all of these little edges and little parts of it. Make it all even. But yes, so under the knob, and then I'll do the knob, and you can even like screw them right back on to let them dry. Let's see, this knob's a little bit light, so I'm gonna go over it. Looks like I got some of the purple mixed in. You guys can see what I'm doing. I know, like, if I look on my phone, the screen's a little wider than what I see on my phone. Get this the right color. And I can loosely screw it back on just to let it dry right now, if I want to. So I'll do that. Another reason that I like to take the knobs off and paint under them is, oh, I forgot the little post, let me get that, is because if anybody ever needs to replace the knob, you know, like what if one breaks or something goes wrong with the screw, you know, or it won't screw back in. This way, they'll be able to replace the knobs, and if they're a different size, underneath is all painted, so they don't have to worry about replacing the knobs ever. They can just do it. They could even put some cute vintage ones on. That's usually what I use. I like to try and use the originals. The originals are always my favorite. They're usually what goes best with the piece, I find. Totally personal preference, though. There we go. Trying to make them match perfectly. There, now it blends right in. Can't even see it. I just gotta make sure I don't lose the screw for the other one. And this one I can still see some, but I think from here, so first I'd go through and I'd do all the knobs. I've done a couple of them. I did like that side, the other side. And I have a few more like on this side. I got lucky with these ones too because the posts are so small. Okay, get my cobalt color. And I want to get in all of these little details. So if you guys ever see me like painting super fast while I'm live, I always go back and do this. I just don't usually do it live because I'm like, who wants to watch that? Okay. Yeah, all these little edges, and I try to leave anything that's blended because I don't want to mess with my blend that was happening already. Get my little tiny edges, and I'm just using like the artist size brush, and I'm looking underneath because a lot of these little places, when you're using your bigger brush, I don't even see that I've missed them, you know? And I don't want my customer, if they're laying on their back underneath a drawer. No, I'm just kidding. There might be somebody who does that. I haven't encountered anybody who does that yet. But if they do, it'll be done and I'll know it's done. So yeah, this is just these little tiny things that I always go back and do. Sometimes it's hard to get inside of these little like these little carved spots, the molds and stuff. stuff. I didn't put those on, those were actually already there, but they do kind of look like Prima molds from redesign. Okay, so then next, these have those little like tight things on the bottom. So I'm gonna pull this out pretty quick. They have those little like, there we go. And you can see I already went and did like all the edges of the drawer on this one. I might go back and do another purpley coat. Yeah, I've learned to, I usually will like, I'll lay down a piece before I send it out of here. And I like to lay it on its back and paint it that way. So this is like, you guys can see on this side. My painting of the edges. I'm gonna get that little purple place. And I just like to try and make a nice straight line. And if you can't make a nice straight line, use some tape. And my head's gonna be in the way here. And then I like to do it along the bottom as well. You don't have to do this. I mean, I know some people who don't. Usually people will go back in and clean it up though. I always go back in and clean it up just to be safe. And I mean, for this part, like if you were gonna peek in at that drawer sideways, you would be able to see this. I just like a nice clean straight line. And if you have a really tight space, I would suggest, you know, if there's another finish under there and it feels like your drawer's really tight, you can sand before and sand off some of the old finish and stuff. I do that a lot where I'll sand right along here. But yeah, this is like, I'm just working on these last little things on this piece. So I was like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, well, I might as well show you guys the last little things on the piece. I think I'll get down into the water too here in a minute and maybe wrap this last part of the painting around the side. But I also wanted to show those little, you know, the little details that I do to make sure that it's just ready to go. I don't have to worry about them later. So now I have really pretty the insides of the drawers. You see how I just did like I do try to match the paint colors. You don't have to be perfect with that part, but I always try to match the paint colors. And then I was gonna show you guys the top. So I've only done the first coat, but I just did a quick like blended look for the top here. You guys should let me know what you think of that, because I like to do that. I'll use some of the colors from the piece and then kind of blend it up onto the top. I think it makes it really pretty. You can see I hold it back there. Sorry about the shaky camera. I've got you guys on the tripod still. Okay. We did knobs. Let's see. We did the insides of the drawers. When I clear coat, I do like to pull the drawers out before I clear coat. I'll of course let these dry first. Okay guys, we're gonna move on to this craziness that's happening down here. And I'm just gonna keep continuing down. I kind of did this like wave over here coming over, and then maybe a crashing wave that's gonna come up here, or at least a little bit of one. So I think I will maybe, I didn't really like this crashing wave. I didn't like where it was. So I might move that really quick. And then we can watch how I move things, which is basically just paint over everything we've done. Paint over it all and move it over. Are always fun. I like them because you don't have to be perfect. I feel like that about a lot of things. I'm like, I like clouds. I like clouds because you don't have to be perfect. Oh yeah, and I like waves because you don't have to be perfect. anything that doesn't have to be exact, I'm like, sweet, I'll take that on. Okay, moving on. I'm gonna get a fan brush, and this is one of my turquoise iris ones. Thank you, David. I think it's one of my favorites too. So this is one of my turquoise iris ones, not Irish. And this one is, I think they sell this one, Paint Pixie makes the brushes. So I think they sell, I believe this is in a set. And I love her little set of them. I will definitely be buying that again. So I like to use the fan brush for some of the details in the waves. And I think I've done a couple of tutorials on waves similar to this one. I did a lot of practice with waves in the past year. They're one of my favorite things to paint, so I'll just keep painting them. So these are like those little foamy lines that sort of get caught up underneath a wave, and we'll add those in. And I like to use my fan brush for that because it just makes it's like perfectly random, you know? And I tend to use like a grayish color, gray blue. I don't want to be too light white. You can always go back in and add more white. It's easy to add it back in. To take it out is a little harder because I usually end up painting over the whole piece. And these are some of the details I'll be doing on the other side as well. I want to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be seeing you all next week. I'm going to be in Waco on Wednesday, so I'm going to try, I'll probably go live while I'm there. I think that would be really fun. Then we can see everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you soon.